What's going on, world? Welcome to my podcast. It's just different with Ty, where I talk about social and political issues. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can get updated on the latest new videos. And let's get started on this. So, like a lot of Americans and people throughout the world, a lot of people watch this first round debate between President Biden and former President Donald Trump, and it was interesting. There was definitely some laughing moments in there, but you know, I watched it. Let me say first, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I ain't supporting either of them. Let's just get that straight. I just watched it just to hear what they had to say, and there was certain points that I'm going to react to, that I feel talks to me or talks to my community when they talk about issues in the Black community or different things of that nature. So we're gonna go right into that right now. Look this up with President Biden, and we're gonna listen to what he has to say, and then we're gonna react to it. We're gonna stop it, and then I'm gonna react to that.
President Biden, while Black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, Black families still earned far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and Black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to Black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small Black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two, the wages of Black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're providing housing for Black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that Black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce.
Stop. Okay, I heard enough from I heard enough from President Biden. I heard enough from that. Let me make sure my mic and everything is up, the volume is up, so I can, get to this and turn the volume up. So, this is again, so we clear. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm just reacting to the debate. That's it, as a Black person. Now, there was some, again, when he was asked that question, when President Biden was asked that question about, disproportionate rate in the prison system, he can't truly, how can you try to justify something to make something right when you, President Biden, you kind of orchestrated this system, the crime bill? I don't know if many of y'all are familiar with that. If you Google the crime bill, it was back in the 1990s. And President Biden actually wrote most of it. So you don't believe me? You don't believe? Okay, well, all right, cool. I know. Me being a Black person, I could say this. With some Black folks, they don't believe you to the white man say. So I ain't gonna say. I'm gonna let the white media outlet that wrote these reports. I'm gonna read it off for you right now. All right, so we're gonna get into this right now with the crime. Where we at? And this is Vox right here. I'm gonna read this off, right? The controversial 1994 crime law that Joe Biden helped write explained. Now, Joe Biden, now you hear this again. Same me saying this. Stroll down a little bit. Stroll down a little bit more right there. and we're going to talk about, hold on, make sure I got the actual part. All right, right there. Okay, so I'm gonna read this off. It says, if you ask some criminal justice reform activists, the 1994 crime law passed by Congress and signed by President Bill Clinton, which was meant to reverse decades of rising crime, was one of the key contributors to mass incarceration in the 1990s. They say it led to more prison sentences, more prison cells, and more aggressive policying, especially hurting Black and Brown Americans who are disproportionately likely to be incarcerated. Policing, sorry about that. Now, especially, I'm going to read that little last sentence, especially hurting Black and Brown Americans who are disproportionately likely to be incarcerated. This is the bill that now President Joe Biden, he basically wrote this. I don't think he wrote all of it. I think he wrote a big port. He did write a portion of this, a big portion of this. So how can he then try to make it right? You know, so again, what can he really say after he then did sign this bill, which generation after generation after generation affects Black families still to this day. Still to this day. So for me, whatever he had to say, he lost me with it. All right. I ain't want to hear what he had. It was a bunch of nonsense, but that's how we gonna move with that. You know, so that's one of the things. And I'm gonna go to another part with former President Donald Trump at the 58 mark. He talks about Black jobs. And before I play this, all right, because I know that, you know what? Let me just play this and then I'm gonna react to it.
Money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the Black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking Black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking Black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you.
Okay.
President Biden?
Okay. Now, this Black jobs things that former President Donald Trump talked about, and I see it from family, friends, people on social media, celebrities. Black jobs. What do you mean Black jobs? Black jobs, Black jobs. They take it as a negative, I guess, because again, just like with anybody, when you don't really like someone, you don't like what the person represents, anything that they say or do and does is going to be perceived as something negative. So, you know, I've seen postings from people that I follow, Black jobs, let me Black jobs. What do you mean Black job? And it's like a trending thing now. What I think, what Donald Trump meant, former President Donald Trump meant, this is what I think. I don't know. I never talked to the man, don't know. What I think he means is every single time, because this was in reference about the migrant crisis and the migrants coming into, you know, migrant illegal people coming into America, getting jobs. So what I think former President Trump was talking about is every time a migrant, an illegal migrant worker comes into this country and is hired or has a job, that is one less job for a Black citizen, a Black American that's actually born in this country. You know, whether that is a cashier at Burger King, whether that's in the industrial business, you know, sheetrocking, whatever, police officer, or even a high position at a Fortune 500 company. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know, but I assume that's what he meant. I noticed some Black people, a lot of Black people, has taken Black jobs from Trump, and they've taken that and they use that as something, or as if he's trying to imply or say demeaning job, or like it's the black job, like something that's so low and doesn't even make money or anything like that. And I don't think that's what he was trying to say. I just think what Trump was trying to say is every single time an illegal migrant person comes in this country, you know, and is offered a job or has a job, that's one less job for a black person in this country. Which really, if you're all about prospering and having Americans prosper and having Americans have all these opportunities, why would they give it to someone else that's not even from here, that came here illegally? And that, I think that's what he was trying to say. That's just what I look at it from that perspective. But you know, we're gonna look into this some more. You know, something interesting. Uh, Start off with former President Trump with HBCUs. You know, and it definitely gets interesting because we're gonna put up some articles and stuff like that on that. So let's hear what Trump has to say.
Historically black colleges and universities where I funded them and got them all funded. And the opportunity zones with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job, great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country, opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever.
Okay, so he said he helped fund black colleges, different things of that. Now, I had a debate, or not a debate, a conversation with one of my friends about this a few years back with when Trump was then the president. But I'm gonna go to an article real quick, and it talks about Trump when he actually gave money to HBCUs. Now, this is in the AP. Again, this ain't me. This ain't me writing this. I ain't saying this again. I have no sides in this. I'm just trying to, you know, go through paperwork, documentation, and different things. And just because this thing is in, you know, written in the papers doesn't necessarily mean it's accurate and true and different things of that nature. But I just, you know, want to show you guys that the AP and Trump signs bill restoring funding for black colleges. So if you scroll down a little bit, more, President Donald Trump on Thursday signed a bill that will permanently provide more than $250 million a year to the nation's historical black colleges and universities, along with dozens of other institutions that serve large shares of minority students. So again, he signed a bill that will permanently provide more than $250 million a year to the nation's historically black colleges and universities. This is what Donald Trump did, okay? Now, when you look at it, right, some of my friends, some of my black friends that are, you know, Republicans that are big Trump supporters, they seen this as the victory. They was calling Trump the GOAT, you know, the greatest of all time. You know, for real, this is what they were saying, and that's their opinion. That's fine. That's fine. And a lot of these HBCUs did receive that money. You know, now, unfortunately, sometimes as people, not only just black people, as people, we don't really do the full research. We go off of headlines, right? We go off of shock value, sound bites. That's what we do. So when Donald Trump announced or said during that debate that, hey, you know, I gave money to black colleges, and it is true, he gave 250, signed a bill saying he would give $250 million annually to HBCUs. We don't read the whole memorandum that's 900 pages and you see all different type of things in there. We don't really do that. We just go off the headlines, you know. So what I noticed is with this money that a lot of these HBCUs were getting, all of a sudden there was an attachment, a stipulation that came with these Black students at these HBCUs. What are you talking about, Ty? Well, I'm gonna tell you. I'm go find an article right now. Let's go look at Dillard University. Let's look at Dillard University. Let's just Dillard University announces COVID-19 vaccine requirements. Now, with summer school, it says it right here, with summer school right around the corner, universities are being forced to make decisions regarding their immunization policies. Most, from what I heard and what I've done the research in, most HBCUs had these stipulations all of a sudden where they wasn't allowing these Black students to come back on campus unless they got the vaccine. Now, maybe, just maybe, if you read the whole memorandum with what came with that $250 million annually to these HBCUs, is it possible, wink, wink, is it possible that in order for these HBCUs to get this money that then President Trump signed, these students would have to take the vaccine, or it would be recommended that these students would have to take the vaccine? Could that be part of it? I don't know. Maybe. But is this something that you definitely highlight? Because people just don't give you money for anything. Yes, he did sign the bill, but just read that memorandum. That's all I'm gonna say when he signed that bill. Read the memorandum and see the different stipulations that come with that. You'll be surprised. So, I wanted to definitely point that out. Now, we're gonna talk about President Biden and HBCUs and what he had to say regarding that.
Black colleges. I came up with $15 billion for HBCUs, historic Black universities and colleges, because they don't have the kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and the like. Any Black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. They just don't have the money. But now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a
Okay, here we go. President Biden just said he came up with $50 billion. This is what he said to give to HBCUs. But like I said, me being a Black person, I could say this. I just don't, I know how some Black folks are. You ain't gonna believe me. You ain't gonna believe it till the white man says. So let's go to fact check. Let's go to an article written by the white man just to see what's going on. And it's crime bill. No, let me get out of here. Okay. Biden-Harris administration announces record over $16 billion in support for historically Black colleges and universities. Okay, so again, he said 50 billion. We see here again, I'm only going off of the article or what it originally says. It says $16 billion. So he said 50. This says 16. Maybe there's other things in there and you read and you can see, but this is the fact check, the White House, and it tells you, whatever have you. Says today the Biden House administration announced a new record of federal funding and investments in historically Black colleges and universities, totaling more than $16 billion from fiasco years 2021 through current available data for FY 2024. And it talks about all these different things. Total more than $60 million, include over 11.4 billion, federal grants, contract, awards, everything else, relief, HBCUs, $4 billion, this and that. So, okay. But here's my question. If this is true, what President Biden is saying, right? That he's giving all this money, and it says it in the fact check. That's what I say. I don't care what article you read from, just because it's in a certain article or a credible source or a credible, that doesn't make it 100% facts and truthful, right? It might have some facts in it, but what's the truth behind it? So if that's the case, why are there so many historically Black colleges closing during President Biden's run? And even if it was before, he has the will. He's the president. He can make things happen, right? To find some type of funding to keep these HBCUs open. Again, don't believe anything I say, Black folks. Don't believe nothing I say. But again, once again, don't believe me. I know you ain't gonna believe me unless the white man say it. So we're gonna go right to the board again. Now, we're gonna go to North Carolina, and it's interesting because I was doing a video on a juice bar down there. Shout out to them. And right across the street is St. Augustine's in Raleigh, North Carolina. And as you see the article in ABC News, North Carolina HBCU faces battle with IRS, risk being shut down. Now, from what I was told, they told me they already shut down the campus. So, so they lost their accreditation. After a while, you can't get grants and this and that. People won't go to school to shut it down. But I was already told that people are not even living on campus no more. They ain't got no money. So I'm going to read this off. St. Augustine's University in Raleigh, North Carolina is in an ongoing battle with the IRS and the Southern Association of Colleges and School Boards of Trustees after historical Black schools' previous finance department mismanaged a $34 million budget, according to the university officers. Now, let me be fair. Okay? President Biden and the staff administration could have gave money to these HBCUs. However, when you might have certain people in positions, everybody might not be honest and trustworthy and making sure that these funds are going into the universities. Some people might be putting in money in their pockets or putting in offshore accounts or who knows, whatever. And I'm not saying it at this school. I'm just saying that's possible. That's highly likely, for that to be happening. I want to go to another source. Go to another HBCU. Here we go. Now, here we go. 3 Mississippi HBCUs mentioned in failed closure bill receive millions in state funding. So again, I have to be fair, right? If I'm talking about things that he's not doing or letting things happen with other HBCUs, here's a case where other HBCUs is closing and it did receive state funding, where again, these schools was going to be closed. And it's interesting because I noticed Jackson State is actually on here. One of the 2 other schools is Alcorn State University and Mississippi Valley State University. All these schools are in the state of Mississippi, I believe. And it talks about the money that was given to these schools. And there was more schools as well, but these 3 HBCUs were definitely going to be closed. And again, as going back to Jackson State University, I believe that's where primetime coach Deion Sanders was at. And it was a whole big thing with him being there, changing the culture, but, you was hearing the rumblings and talks of him saying that, well, not him saying, but it was alleged that there was the money situation, mismanagement of the money situations. Allegedly, there was certain people that wasn't doing what they were supposed to do with the money, and the school needed new equipment, needed new this, the stadium, everything else, and that was, I guess, from what you hear, a big reason as to why he actually left and went to Colorado. You know, uh, but there's other HBCUs that have been shutting down and in the process of being shut down on President Biden's watch. And he's not really doing nothing about that, So I just wanted to bring that up because, again, in that debate, those are the things that stuck out to me as a Black person. I mean, there was other things as well, but that just immediately stuck out to me as well. And I just wanted to touch that. But you guys, you can comment, here and give me your opinion, what other things you felt that I missed on here, or if you felt I was wrong, whatever. Again, let's have this dialogue. And thank you guys for watching my channel. It's just different with Ty. Peace and love.